Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on this terrific Tuesday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. And if you are new around here and finding yourself on my channel for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button because I drop an update just like this one around 1 PM UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We will be taking a look at Bitcoin, taking a look at Total 2. They are continuing to sell off. And the real question that you need to be asking and answering is this just a pullback in a broader uptrend, which is the camp I am in, or is this the start of some more severe downside? And of course, altcoins getting thrown around rather violently, as they always do when there's uncertainty introduced into the market. And we'll look at the dollar that is really a representation of that uncertainty in regards to the kind of sideways movement we're seeing there. Jerome Powell really threw a spanner into the works. The unemployment data that we had in the US really threw a spanner into the works. And there's a lot of questions that are being asked, and certainly the Fed isn't giving any answers to them. So we will be looking at that. Also, the stock market not doing too badly. Gold coming off as well. When everyone starts talking about gold and silver, that's usually a bit of a sign. Are we and have we had signs in regards to, Iggy Azalea getting into the market? Everyone talking. I mean, Ryan Garcia, I think just the other day was talking about meme coins are going to go crazy. My opinion isn't a top signal given where we're at from a technical point of view, but it does, certainly warrant a pullback to kind of rein retail back in. And when there is uncertainty in the markets, what you'll find is that larger money doesn't play. They don't want to play in traffic, plain and simple. And with the cryptocurrency space, it can often be like a bit of a game of, what's that game, Frog or Frog It or whatever it's called, where you've got to try and get across without getting hit by traffic, which is what we're kind of trying to do here on the channel. So we'll be looking at Bitcoin against the stock market. Stock market doing quite well. We are expecting and have been expecting Bitcoin to pull back against the stock market, but ultimately set up for broader upside. Bitcoin, in my opinion, and crypto more broadly, is going to be the best performing asset in a environment that sees assets do well generally. And I think Stan Weinstein is also betting on that in regards to, or not Stan Weinstein, sorry, Stan Druckenmiller. Stan Weinstein is the guy who fathered Stage Analysis. Brilliant book to read, How to Make Money in a Bull and Bear Market. Stan Druckenmiller moving from the Nvidia stock down to the IWM, which we can maybe fly and take a look at from a technical perspective towards the end of the video. But we are going to be starting with some nothing short of interesting news. So let's dive into it without further ado. And the news, of course, is from The Block. It's all over the place, or Blockworks. On the margin newsletter, SEC crypto enforcement leader depart. So the head of the SEC's crypto enforcement has left. We're going to be looking at the post that he released in regards to his resignation. Then we'll also be going back and looking at the fact that it wasn't that long ago, only in April, you had 2 SEC attorneys resign. The other alternative was they were going to get fired over the gross misconduct in regards to debt box, which the SEC had to pay money out of. But it's okay because the SEC just got, I think it's $2 billion, or is set to get $2 billion out of Terra. Not the people, by the way, that got burnt in that whole situation. The SEC don't care about them. The SEC isn't about protecting you. It's about protecting their special interests. So the SEC is the only one benefiting from the Terra Luna situation. Even though they weren't involved in it, they didn't stop it. They're the ones that are getting the payout. What a beautiful world. And it is a beautiful world. There's just some bad actors in it, I'm afraid, guys. So we've already read that bit. So plus an update on the Ethereum spot ETF and what's on this week's economy. So we're not really that interested in the Blockworks newsletter. This is from Bitcoin Magazine. Just in, Chief of Crypto Asset Enforcement Division, David Hirsch, has left the role. And let's take a look at what he had to say. And this was a 6-hour ago post, or it'd be more like nearly 24 hours since I'm recording. This past Friday was my last day with the SEC after almost 9 years. My heart goes out to him. During that time, I had the opportunity to work on more complex, challenging investigations and issues than I ever imagined when I joined the agency as a staff attorney in the Fort Worth Regional Office. I'm particularly proud of the historic work done by the Crypto Asset and Cyber Unit team I had the privilege to lead. Okay, not sure what he's referring to there. Maybe the fact that they stopped FTX. Maybe the fact that they stopped the Luna thing. Maybe that's what he's referring to, the kind of protecting actually of investors through the SEC, which is what that agency is there to do. They've been doing the opposite, in my opinion. So I am deeply indebted, sorry for rambling there, to too many mentors, leaders, colleagues, and friends to name here. And that includes amazing partners across state, federal, and international regulators and law enforcement. As I often say, securities enforcement is a team sport. Oh. And that was certainly true throughout my tenure. Every success I was a part of was the direct result of collaboration and combined efforts towards a common goal. Thank you to you all. While it's hard to leave the agency that has given me so much, I am very excited for the next set of challenges. I look forward to sharing more about that soon. But for now, I'm excited for a break and travel with the family before my son heads to college in the fall. So, wishing his son all the best on a serious note in regards to his college and that journey. And, you know, what we need to do, I think, is remember that these people are human beings like we are. And, you know, I know everyone loves to get really pent up, certainly when the cryptocurrency market is going down, but just be a little bit reserved with it, I would say. I am betting, and maybe we should do this publicly, that he's going to end up at a crypto company. Imagine the amounts of people that are going to be after David Hirsch. If I had a crypto company, I tell you what, he would be somebody I'd be gunning for with a very high paycheck at the end of it. Because ultimately, you know, not only has he got those links in the SEC, not only does he know the kind of inner workings of it, my gut feeling is he's going to end up working at a cryptocurrency company. That tends to be the case. We've seen lots of kind of transition from law enforcement over to crypto companies, or, you know, in previous technological revolutions, that kind of thing that they've tried to hinder. So we know also that 2 SECs resigned after gross abuse of power. This was back in April. The date on this article is the 23rd of April. 2 Securities and Exchange Commission's attorney have resigned after a federal judge sanctioned the regulatory of gross abuse of power in the case against Debtbox. So it was Mitchell Welch and Joseph Watkins resigned this month after the SEC informed them they would lose their jobs if they didn't leave. People familiar with the matter told Bloomberg. So the SEC has been caught out. I've never seen an agency that has an unlimited amount of resources get their behinds handed to them. The SEC has an extremely high conviction rate. And the reason being is because they're the biggest bully in the room when it comes to legal proceedings. They have an unlimited resource and they go after people, small fish. Ripple was the wrong fish for them to go after, by the way. We'll be doing another update on that tonight, I think. We're going to be going and continuing to follow down the Ripple XRP case. I know some people hate it. Don't watch the videos when it comes to XRP. I don't know why people put themselves through that. It's fine. I own XRP. I own, I think it's 23 or 4 cryptocurrencies. You can find out what I own by becoming a Patreon. We are still, since we started investing in the market, despite all the turbulence and volatility that we're seeing, up on our portfolio overall. We've still got altcoins in the 100% up. And we think, you know, obviously the bull market is still to come. We'll talk about that in just a second, or the bulk of the bull market. I think broadly we are in a bull market, the sort of first innings of it. It is interesting, everything that's going on with the SEC. And again, I am betting that this David Hirsch guy is going to end up at a cryptocurrency company. Let's talk about the markets. Let's start off with Bitcoin first. The question you've got to be asking and trying to answer is this a pullback, or is this the start of impending doom? And I think, for me, from a technical point of view, this is very much just still a pullback in what is a broader uptrend, okay? We still have all our technical targets, not just on Bitcoin, on Bitcoin miners, on Coinbase, on crypto index funds, on Total 2, that all point to the same direction. And we ultimately still have that broader thesis on the dollar. But with the uncertainty that's been introduced in regards to the markets, you know, there's always an overemphasization on, okay, this is it now, guys. It's over for crypto. The bear market is back. And I'm just not seeing that personally. And it's kind of hard, I guess, for me to come on here day after day. It's not hard for me at all. And continue to reiterate my bias. And it is only my bias. It's not financial advice. You can lose all your money in the cryptocurrency space. I think this pullback is a good reminder just how volatile altcoins are. But nobody wants the downside volatility. Everyone only wants the upside volatility. And I'm afraid that's not how this works. I remember riding a lot of volatility back in 2018-19. And ultimately, it was one of the best things that I ever did and endured. And I think we're in a similar situation today with many altcoins. And we are also releasing courses. Link in the description if you want to sign up for the newsletter. You'll get an exclusive discount by being the first people to join that. But is this just a pullback, or is this the start of something more broadly? And I think this is just a pullback in what is a broader uptrend. We've still got our targets at $151,000. And if we drop down to the daily, it is brutal. It's more brutal for somebody like myself who's more positioned in altcoins than I am Bitcoin. Could I play Bitcoin dominance trade right? or better, because we were some of the only people looking at getting back into Bitcoin at 15, 16K. That was our call. 5th of January 2023, we started buying cryptos again. Absolutely, we could have. I'm not perfect. I'm a human being just like you guys, or some of you guys, I'm not sure. Ultimately, my bet is that altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin in this bull market. Now, we'll see if I'm proven right on that or wrong. This still, I do think, is well within the realms of a pullback, setting up some sort of structure, a bit of an extended flag now. There is the possibility of this inverse head and shoulders, but you need to see a squaring up and some strength come in. And I want to highlight something going back to the weekly time frame. Just the absolute lack of any volume here. And this is, when you've got uncertainty mixed with low volume and low interest, selling may come back into Leisure Day, seasonality to markets, uncertainty, it kind of, things are going to lean towards the path of less resistance. And that's really what you're seeing. Look at the volume drop off here. Actually, the volume drop off that we've seen on this pullback is also somewhat a good thing, but you need to see that volume come back in. You're getting a kind of compression of volume, if you will, if we look at the, and hopefully you guys can see that volume drop off here. One swallow does not a summer make, so we're currently on Coinbase, but if we look on Bitstamp, it's the same. If we look on Bitfinex, it's even worse. And if we look on Binance, you can see it's very much non-existent. So we know the majority of trading is happening on Coinbase. And there's probably a lot of OTC things taking place. Let's talk about the total too before we bring Bitcoin onto the broader markets. Our bet is still very much on for this. That this is ultimately going to set up and lead to a $3.8 trillion market. So there's still nothing technically that we're really invalidated on. Some altcoins looking a little bit shaky. But with the altcoin market, you have to give a little bit of nuance, I think, when it comes to technical analysis. And you have to be in it to win it, really, with a lot of these altcoins. That's the kind of name of the game. Traditional risk management and all this sort of stuff kind of goes a little bit out the window when it comes to altcoins, unfortunately. If you disagree with me, that's fine. And I'm sure, everyone's willing to show results, of course, not. Whereas, we do post, certainly for the Patreons. And obviously, once we've proven the equation, we'll be gloating about it all, I'm sure. But this is still well within the realms of a pullback. One question that I got, and I think it's a brilliant question, is actually the SPY is doing really well. So the SPY is something that we were technically bullish on here. I think crypto's in this similar spot. And this is going up, up, and away. And Bitcoin isn't following suit with it. It's more sort of tethered to gold, which is having a bit of an extended pullback. However, Bitcoin is in an uptrend against the SPY. And it's at a level where you'd expect it to pull back technically, regardless of what the news is, and could ultimately set up for that broader continuation. And we've got a number of targets here. It's also in a uptrend against the NASDAQ, which is doing quite well, but it's having a bit of a pullback, just like it is against the US dollar, and of course, gold. So a lot of this has a lot to do with what the dollar's doing. If we pull Bitcoin up against the dollar, you'll see that the real contrasting correlation here. You can see dollar up, BTC down, dollar down, BTC up, and with this kind of, you can see it as clear as night and day, certainly if I take the draws off. We need the dollar to roll. I think the dollar's going to roll on the back end of yields rolling, interest rates coming down. I think the Fed is just trying not to play too much of a dovish game, but they've introduced a lot of uncertainty to the markets. Inflation we've seen continues to trend down. We saw unemployment up. There's a lot of kind of double-edged swords at the moment. The real thing that's anchoring me is what's your bigger timeframes? What's your bigger view of things, and how does this play out? Are you in the camp that this is something more than just a pullback, and that ultimately we've got the markets wrong in regards to they're going to up interest rates? The economy isn't going to be as strong as expected. Perhaps unemployment was a sign of that. We still think the dollar's coming down to around about the sort of 97 range, 96 range, down to the lower band of this channel you've been in since 2008, which is going to see crypto and things do well, all driven by interest rates, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. Crypto is always going to bear the brunt of that, I'm afraid, because it's that higher beta asset class when it comes to risk generally, and when there's uncertainty involved in the markets. People don't want to play in the traffic. Big money will not play in the traffic. It won't risk it like somebody like myself, who is at an age where they're young enough to take that risk with crypto. Not everybody's in my situation, so I am irresponsibly spot long not Bitcoin. I do have a little bit of Bitcoin, but crypto. And that's a bet that I can take given the age that I'm at, and I'm willing to take the risk. Not everybody's in that situation. People should always understand the risk that they're getting involved with. I always say this: if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. It's not a pride thing. It's you need to be sensible and smart about it. But I still am firm in my belief, and I could be 180 degrees wrong, and we'll always hold our hands up like we always do in regards to that. We've got a good time ahead of us, and we've spoken about a few reasons in this. We've spoken about a lot more broadly. If you want to really take things to the next level and understand, I do a Sunday meeting every single Sunday where I get together with my patrons on a live meeting, and we look at the overall picture. So do get on board with that. Also, Patreon members will get a discount to the courses, and if you've been with me for a long enough time, you'll get them for free. So on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. A lot of uncertainty in the markets. Bitcoin, crypto bearing the brunt of it. Big players don't want to play in the traffic. Interesting news in regards to the SEC. I am going to love and leave you on that note, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a terrific Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow with another daily market update, so do subscribe so you don't miss that. And I'm wishing you all a wonderful day wherever you are and whatever it is you're doing. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you in the next.